Shaping isn't hard. It's just invisible until someone explains it. You already know how to crochet. Now I'm going to teach you how to sculpt. Most crochet is flat, rows, panels, rectangles, squares. You get what I'm saying. It's flat. Amigurumi, on the other hand, is 3D. If shaping feels a little bit confusing, it's not because you lack the skill. It's because you've never been shown what's actually happening under the stitches. That ends today. We're breaking it all down. Shapes, stitch placement, stuffing support, how to sew without losing your mind, all of it. I'm Marty. I'm an amigurumi designer and a very firm believer that crochet is a sculptural art. Around here, we like to bend the rules. We like to flip the script, and we have a damn good time doing it. So let's hop into the video. Now, before you can shape anything with confidence, you need to understand what you're actually building. The truth is, almost every amigurumi project, no matter how detailed it is, starts with just 3 simple shapes. And once you see them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. The first one is a sphere. These are the round parts. They are used a lot for heads, cheeks, bodies, sometimes feet, hands, depending on the project. But it's a sphere. It's just a round shape. The next one is a cylinder. It's a long tube. These are used for limbs, necks, tails, those kind of things. And then the final part is, and don't judge me because I know it's small, but you see what I'm saying, is this tiny little cone. The cones are the tapered parts. They're used for things like ears or snouts or horns or things like that. Maybe even toenails, depending on how you do them. But it's these 3 simple, teeny, tiny shapes: cones, spheres, and cylinders. So it's really not complex. It's just shape remixing. It's putting the shapes together in various ways that give you what you want. Knowing the shapes is a really good start, but what really brings them to life is how you control those shapes, because shapes are just the potential. It's the potential to be something great. Stitch placement, that's where the real power is, because it's not magic. It's not guessing. It's stitch placement. Plain and simple. Let's talk about even stitch placement. These produce rounded, smooth shapes. So when you space your increases or decreases evenly across the entire round, you're going to get soft curves. This is how you build the heads, the bodies, the soft, round, plush forms, things like that. When you think of even stitch placement, you think of balance. You balance everything out. Everything is even and the shaping is even. So that's going to look like single crochet increase all the way around. Or you can also do decreases the same way. When you're building a sphere, you start small, really small, and then you build your increases until you get as wide as you want your sphere to be. And then you start decreasing in the same manner, evenly all the way around. Now, stacked placement, that builds angles. That builds structure. So when you increase or decrease in the same spot every single round, you're going to create sharper features, flat planes, ridges, corners, that kind of thing. This is where the shaping gets really structural. You're not crocheting a blob. You're building a face, a snout, a brow. If you are working on the face, for instance, okay, say this is a face, and you get to about right here and you decide this is where you want his cheeks to be. If you're working from the top down and you add increases and you stack them all in the exact same space, that's going to create an extra bump. Stacking them creates sharper angles, and it changes the shape of your basic core building block, I guess you could say. All of those stacked stitches are intentional. And yes, you are 100% capable of doing it. I know that there are times, especially when I first started, I was reading and I'm like, why are there 6 increases in a row? That just makes it look crazy. How come on this row, you've got 6 increases over here on this side, but you've got 6 decreases on this side? It's crazy, right? Like it starts looking like it's funky, but it's intentional. Completely intentional, because you are shaping whatever it is that you're building. Another placement is offset or staggered. This really creates organic and flowing shape. So for instance, if you had this. If you wanted to, I don't know why it went fuzzy, it's fine. If you want to take this and you want to turn it into a tail, but you want your tail to kind of wiggle, that's how you do your offset or your staggered stitch placements so that you get the curves that you want, even though it's a cylinder. That's how you shape. Like I said, tails, limbs are like that. More realistic body lines get like that as well. It takes a little bit of planning, but you don't need to be a math genius. Honestly, I am so not a math genius, but you need to observe the shape as you're going. And stitch markers are your friend. If you've ever followed a pattern, like I said, why the hell am I doing this here? Why is this happening? It's a shape. The shape is taking place. It is being sculpted. You're in the process. Trust the process. You're not just adding stitches in random spots. It's all intentional. Shaping isn't about guessing. It's about control. When you understand how your stitch placement changes the form, you stop following patterns blindly. And that's when you really start to sculpt your yarn, your piece intentionally. Once your shaping is solid, the structure holds its own. And that changes literally everything, because now stuffing isn't about fixing mistakes. It's about supporting the structure that you've already built. So let's move on to stuffing. Stuffing supports the shape. It doesn't make the shape. Think of it as reinforcement, not correction. Stuffing isn't the MVP. It's not the superhero. It's the sidekick. You let your stitches do the work. So let's talk about some best practices to make sure that your work stays supported, balanced, and looking exactly the way that you want it to look. Most shape issues are structural. They're not stuffing related. If the structure is bad, there's no amount of stuffing in the world that's going to fix that. Absolutely none. However, when your structure is solid, when it is exactly the way that it should be, stuffing supports it. However, when you overstuff, you distort the shapes. The stitches begin to pull apart and you get that kind of distorted, twisted kind of look. When you understuff it, it kind of collapses in on itself. The support isn't there like it should be. So good shaping means the stuffing fills the form, it doesn't correct it. And you don't use fiber fill to fix mistakes made earlier in the project. You just need to fix those first. So if your shaping is solid and your stuffing supports the form, not smothers it, then you're already ahead of the game. That part's done. Now it's just about how to bring it all together. And the next step, it's not just sewing, it's the final sculpting step. Sewing doesn't have to be stressful. It really doesn't. It just has to be intentional. It isn't about perfection or precision. It's more about placement. You've shaped it. You've stuffed it. And now it's time to bring it to life. And sewing locks in the pose. It locks in the personality. It locks in the attitude. Once you know what to look for, it stops feeling so intimidating and starts feeling more like an added layer of control that you have to produce the project that you intentionally wanted to create. So the way that you attach the parts changes the whole feel of the project. You just don't slap a limb on. You pre-shape that limb. You stuff whatever limb it is. You put your supporting stuffing in here, and then you pin it like I've done to this fella right here. You use these pins. You pin it however you need it and want it to be to make sure that it's stable. You can look at it in all directions to make sure that not only is it straight this way, but it looks good this way as well, all the way through, right? That way you get your placement the way that you want it before you ever even start sewing. Sewing is about posing. It's about balance, limb angle, head tilt, ear placement, all of that. It's all part of expression and style. So sewing it's not assembly. It's the final sculpting step. That little mindset shift from assembly to sculpt it really makes a difference on how you approach it. And when you treat it like that, it matters and it shows. So let's zoom out for a quick sec. Okay, because you've just leveled up in a major, major way. You now know the 3 shapes that build everything in Amigurumi. They're the starting points, the basic building blocks. You understand how stitch placement isn't guesswork. It's sculpting. You're making with every single stitch, you're making that shape bend and flow the way that you want it to flow. You've got stuffing techniques that support your shape without sabotaging it. And sewing, well, that's not an afterthought anymore. It's the final step in shaping with intention. If you want a little backup while you practice, I got you. In the description below, I have linked my sewing and stuffing survival guide. It's packed with practical tips, my favorite no BS strategies to help you stay in control all the way through to the finish line. So, in a nutshell, let's get real talk here. You're not following patterns blindly anymore. You are seeing the structure underneath, and that's the real power. In the next video, we're going to take it one step further. I'm going to show you how to read and modify amigurumi patterns like a badass. That way you can stop stressing over every single line, start making intentional changes, and maybe even bend the rules a little bit because we like it like that. And now that you understand how shapes actually work, you're not just crocheting anymore. You're building, you're sculpting, you are creating on purpose, and it only gets better from here. Let's do this.